Welcome to Wuxiaworld's Teahouse Season 2. I'm your host, Yoj.
And I'm Toki.
Before we get started, a quick PSA. Our favorite duo, translator Wu and editor D Momo from Daddy Is Too Strong, is putting together a super fun fan event to celebrate their 100th chapter. They'll be joining us on Wuxiaworld's Teahouse for a milestone celebration, where they'll also be answering your questions about their novel. If you caught episode 6 of season 2, you know Toki and I had a lot of questions ourselves about the novel, so we're definitely stoked for this one. Usually, we're the one asking the team's questions, but Wu and Momo are flipping the script. They're asking questions to you, the readers, and your responses might get featured during the 100th chapter special, shoutouts included. Oh, and for all the brave-hearted folks who submit their responses as an audio recording instead of text, yup, we'll be playing those clips on the episode. So if you want to be part of the fun and maybe hear your voice on air, head over to the Daddy Is Too Strong novel page on Wuxiaworld for all the event details. Just make sure to get your answers in before the deadline on April 25th. Alrighty, that's it from me. On with the show.
Everybody sit down. Welcome back to the Wuxiaworld Teahouse here. This is Orba Ding Dong, your lovely editor. I am here today with, I think it's, this says Yoj.
Hi.
And Talkie. Is that what it is? Talkie? Do you talk a lot in these?
Yep. I'm a walkie-talkie.
All right. Well, it looks like today... Oh, I used to love those. I always wanted one. Even though I have a phone, I still think it'd be so cool to have one.
What's cool to have?
Walkie-talkie, yeah.
A walkie-talkie.
Oh, I was thinking like Talkies, like the snack.
Oh, no, I've never had those. The ads for those are crazy. They're too much happens in them.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay.
Orb is our MC today.
Yeah, we did an episode about what makes us passionate, aka a little pissed off, that we read or edit or see in novels. And I think this week we are going to do a little bit more of a lighthearted way. Look at the things that make us happy with novels, because we love them. We love them. I swear, we love them. We can't get enough of them.
That's true.
And we're happy with them.
So Orb, what makes you happy?
I like when an author can pull off a good comedic scene.
Okay.
And not one that feels like they have a one-liner and they think, you know what, how am I going to fit this into the story? But just things that like naturally fall in to the flow of things, and you just get a nice smile out of it. I think there's a lot of novels, like one of the ones after I Shall Seal the Heavens from Ergen. One of those novels was really a big comedy one. And there's Keyboard Immortal, which is basically about a guy who was a keyboard warrior in the past. So he typed online and fought with people online and was like, lol, nerd, noob.
Okay, I have heard of that one, yeah.
Yeah, and so he transmigrates to another world. He gets a stat system, basically, that's like a keyboard system, so he can use abilities, blah, blah, blah. So this is pretty far down into the novel, and he is with one of the women in the story, and they're in a really deep mine, like very deep underground.
Okay,
yeah,
mine,
like
that kind of mine.
Like a gem mine.
Ooh, okay. So what about this makes it fun or comic?
So while they're there, they're kind of looking to find out where a monster came from.
Okay.
And then they also know something of there's a resource, like a tree, that's supposed to grow a really nice fruit that would help the MC a lot. And so they find the tree. It talks about how it's pretty, and instead of flowers, it's like delicate flames coming off.
That sounds
and
pretty.
So our main character, Juan, I'm just going to say MC because I might not pronounce it correctly. Our MC there.
Nice save.
Walks up to the tree and bows and says, "Brother tree, this humble one wants to borrow the Wu Yang jade around you. I won't hurt you, so I'm hoping you can be generous." And the narration says, Yu Yan Lo giggled, thinking, "This guy really is interesting. He's actually talking to a tree. but her eyes soon widened because the tree began speaking. Even though its voice was somewhat obscured, they could make out the words, "I won't lend it to you." And so they fight, and then eventually the tree says, "Stop, stop, stop, I'll lend it to you. Is that not enough?" The silver flame flower tree no longer sounded as valiant as before and immediately shrank back. Its trunk shriveled up and softened, then fell forward as if it were prostrating on its knees. It placed its two thickest branches in front of its head like arms, looking as if it were begging for mercy.
Quick question. Is the tree a monster? Or is it just like a gem tree that he's trying to find something from?
It's kind of just like a spiritual plant.
Okay.
It's not like necessarily a big monster that's a big problem.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
It's one of those things where it's so valuable or so spiritual that it develops sentience.
Okay. Because you were earlier talking about like monsters and a gem in a mine. So I was like, is this what he's fighting? Okay. All right, continue.
Yeah, they questioned the tree a little bit on like, hey, there was this big ass worm that was giving us problems. Do you know what's going on? And he's like, why would I know? And so it goes on. He says, let's see, it would be one thing for a tree to be able to talk, but this one could even beg for mercy? The worst part was that it made absolutely no sense. They didn't know who it could even have learned the gesture from. Because where the fuck would this tree learn how to bow?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so our MC asked calmly, why are you willing to lend it to me now? The silver flame flower tree replied, I can't beat you, of course, so there's no point, even if we keep fighting. Our MC replies seriously, if my cultivation were a bit weaker, I might already have been burned to nothing. You still have the nerve to beg for mercy? The silver flame flower tree said in a strange tone, the strong prey on the weak, so you should acknowledge your fate if you lose. Isn't that the most natural law of the world?
Huh, okay.
Our MC was speechless. This fella really did make some sense. Then the woman asks, why are you able to speak? And the tree responds, why wouldn't I be able to speak? Matter-of-factly. And she doesn't know what to say either.
I wouldn't know either.
For like the next chapter and a half, they negotiate terms with this tree, and it like haggles, and it's like, well, maybe I could grow one fruit every like 100 years, I guess. You guys can come back in 100 years and I'll help you out. And the MC's like, I don't buy it. He's like, okay, well, yeah, you're right. Actually 10 years. I could do it with 10 years. And he's like, I don't know, it still seems fishy. And he's like, okay, 1 year. I can get you the gem in 1 year. You'll love my fruit. It's going to be awesome. And here, let's shake on it. And they agree. And so when they make the agreement, the two characters, the MC and the woman, look at each other and they're like, nice. And then the novel says, suddenly, the two of them noticed that something strange was happening. When they looked up, they saw that the silver flame flower tree had crawled out of the ground. Its dense roots had split into two parts, becoming like a pair of legs. It had already begun running into the distance. Seeing that it had been discovered by the two of them, the tree screamed while running, don't chase after me or I'm going to take you all down with me! It even raised its flames as it spoke. Mere moments later, it disappeared into the distance.
So the tree is now out from underground?
Yeah, the tree sprouted legs, basically, and started sprinting away.
Okay, this imagery is hilarious. I can see why you...
Yeah.
Okay, I definitely agree that this is a funny scene.
And then later in that same chapter, the MC gets skills from... He gets to like basically roll a gacha system, a lottery, to see if he can get new skills with points he earns by pissing people off. They called them rage points. So he spends his rage points to roll for new abilities, and he gets one. And so the system says, congratulations for winning the skill John Doe's Nemesis. Skill description. At a certain point in space-time, there was a crazy bastard named John Doe who existed outside the law. He always managed to find loopholes around those laws. There was an almighty judge who finally couldn't take it anymore and wanted to bring him to justice. After endless trials and tribulations, he finally succeeded. For the first time in history, John Doe was convicted. However, John Doe quickly found a new loophole and recovered his freedom once more. The almighty judge continued to look for ways to convict him, but John Doe continued to escape blame, and that process continued again and again. That is why the almighty judge obtained the title John Doe's Nemesis. Skill effects. Upon use, anyone named John Doe will be confined for 1 second. After 1 second, the target will return to normal.
1 second.
Is there a
skill.
reason why it's
1
specific
second?
to
That's all.
John Doe? Or like,
1
does
second.
that mean like a random people? Or is the person's name John Doe?
Literally anybody named John Doe. And so we get this ability, and this is a teensy bit of a spoiler, but I think as readers we kind of pick up on it. He gets an ability later, like hundreds of chapters later, that basically allows him to give other names to people, or to like, designate them as something. So he uses the skill, and it's like a one-time thing. So as a one-time deal, he changes somebody's name in the middle of a fight, and then uses John Doe's nemesis, and he's able to take them out.
That's smart.
I really think characters who just piss other characters off are like the funniest, like purposely pissing them off.
Well, yeah, because that's what we all want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, we're reading fantasy novels. One of
Yeah.
my fantasies is when somebody does something shitty, I talk shit to them. I mean, don't we all?
I would love it. I don't know how great I would be with it, but just characters pissing each other off is like the best. But to get points to piss other people off, oh god, that'd be amazing.
And he gets to use the system a little bit of a clever way too, because it tells him like, James Smith gives 900 rage points. James Smith gives 900 rage points, like every time he pisses
Wait, so
them
does
off.
that mean you get
And so a
you
couple
get more
times
rage points for the more powerful person you piss off?
you piss people off. That as well. So at first it is only he gets like within, I think, 1024, because it talks about the Fibonacci sequence and all those numbers and all that stuff. I think the author was like a mathematics professor or something. It seems a lot of these novels authors are. But he eventually, when he's angering more powerful people, it'll say like a repeated, you earned this many points, this many points, this many points. So yeah, the more he pisses them off, the more points, and the stronger they are, the more points.
Interesting.
I love it when novels have different systems. Like this one, like you get points for pissing other people off, and in our previous one, My Journey to Immortality Begins with Hunting, like you get points for having a harmonious night.
Yeah, there's even that Korean manga. I think it's just called The Gamer.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it's
The Gamer,
basically
yeah.
the main character gets basically a stat window and a quest system and everything. And
Oh,
he's
how
like
does he get
bestowed it
points?
by the heavens. He gets points by accomplishing things or like
Basic
completing
tasks,
quests.
yeah.
And so it says like whenever you defeat this monster, you get this many points. And so he purposely like basically games the system so that he can farm points like crazy and like do time dilation.
that reminds me
and-
of the Demon King novel that we have on our site, because one of the ways he was able to get points, he also does it by quest, right? And one of the quests was to participate in a cross-dressing event, and it was a lot of points.
Yeah, there's another novel. We had it for a little while, and the author just ended up dropping it. It's one of those examples of a novel that started out really strong, and then the author kind of loses it. But it's called Absolute Choice, and it's where the character is given a chance, like time freezes, and it's like, okay, you can choose A or B. A is you walk away. B is you steal their underwear without them noticing.
What?
Or like
Wait.
you walk on your hands and go over to this room.
That escalated quickly.
And it says like if you pick A, you don't really get any kind of reward. But if you do B, you get a class B skill
That
to
escalated
use.
real fast.
Blah, blah, blah. And I say the underwear thing because one of the skills he obtains means that he constantly tries to rob things from people. So whenever he like taps somebody on the shoulder, something from their inventory or on them like automatically is transferred to his inventory. And so there's one scene where he's like, yeah, man, damn straight. And he like pats the guy on the shoulder. And then we realize that it took the guy's underwear So he kind of just has to be like, oh, hey, by the way, and kind of give the guy his own underwear.
That's awkward.
Imagine having your underwear stolen,
Yeah,
Yoge.
Without you knowing, and then to be giving it back. That's so awkward.
Oh yeah, I picked this up
yeah,
by the
if
way.
you take my underwear, just keep it.
I picked this up.
Yeah,
by
I
the
don't want
way.
it back.
Yeah. Maybe you want it back,
That's so awkward.
bruh.
It'd be worse if there were people around you.
I don't know. I think if somebody kind of cornered you in an alley and was like, here's your underwear,
Okay.
that'd be kind of worse. But yeah, I really enjoy those kinds of game systems in novels, and I like when the author does it well, which is admittedly in a lot of them, where, because I'll immediately, every time I read a story and I learn of one skill, I'm writing out like 3 different theories of how they can use this skill to just completely break everything.
It's kind of interesting you say that, because one of our listener, Dragoonity just wrote something in our podcast Discord channel saying, I came to despise game elements in novels.
He did. Yeah, that's why I think I commented on it a little bit ago, and I was like, then Korean novels definitely aren't for you.
Yeah.
Because the Korean novels, I think, obviously because gaming is such a big part of the culture, they have a lot of those kinds of elements, to where usually if a novel has like a game system kind of element to it and it's not Korean, I'm like, what? I think we end up having a lot of novels, depending on the language, have different kind of topics. Like cultivation usually goes more towards the Chinese novels, and then gaming elements of I reincarnated as this, or I am the dungeon master, blah blah blah, is going to end up being Korean.
Demon Lords.
And I just love when they do those systems so well. Because, I mean, especially there was one, I think we talked about it before forever ago, for New Year's, Moon Labyrinth. Or Moon's Labyrinth.
Yes. You guys totally went off on a tangent there.
Yeah, it's like really good, because I think everybody kind of wishes, I think I'd be way more productive in life if when I did something, some kind of status bar went up.
That's true.
I think eventually you're like, hey, I need to see some progress here. Because like complete something and you get experience, all right, cool. Or like when it comes to working out, if they're like, all right, well, I just worked out and now I have 2% of the progress bar done. Whereas in real life, if you work out, you just kind of have to keep your eye out for any changes.
That's true.
Okay, didn't we talk about this before? We were kind of talking about what would we do if we had a stats win, though. I feel like one of our episodes we kind of did. I don't know what conclusion we came to, but I feel like we talked about this.
We did. We definitely did.
And then we were talking about gamifying our life.
Yeah, that's what brought some ideas to me because I was like, oh yeah, I should probably listen to a couple of the episodes just to, I haven't listened to them in a while. I need to get caught back up. And I heard the character system thing and I got so like on a tangent that I didn't listen to the rest of the episode, I think. I was like, okay, I could tell this. And you know what? If I were there, I would totally say this.
You started interacting with like your...
Yeah, with myself. And I was like, oh yeah, I would totally say that. That would be so cool. But I've always thought when it comes like the main stats in a character window, I think agility is like, if you had to max one thing out, I think agility, moving quickly, is going to be the most fun and the most useful.
No, okay. To go back to our very beginning of the episode when we're talking about getting points for enraging people. In your system world, how would you get points?
I would love it if I could get points for reading novels. That'd be so big to me.
Yes.
Or add something for editing novels. Because I already see a little bit of progress in my speed. But if it could be like, all right, now that you've gotten this many points, you've unlocked auto edit. And I'm like, oh.
Okay.
I think that'd
How
be
many
so
points
nice.
do you think you would have to gain to unlock auto edit?
Oh, that'd need to be at least a couple years of reading.
Oh, wait.
I think. I would love for the for the system to really cater to my fantasies, but I think if I'm realistic, I'd feel like it's kind of broken if after like 2 weeks, suddenly I go from taking, like, I started out taking like 4 hours per chapter, and I'm up to like 30 minutes per chapter now.
Wow.
For 2,000 words.
Look at
I
you.
know, I'm getting good.
You don't even need that auto edit skill.
Yeah, and I'm sure my translator's like, why isn't he getting more done then? But yeah, I think that would definitely be, I wouldn't want that system to come in too easily.
You want to
I
work
think that's
for
what
it?
I would want points for. Yeah.
Hell, I would want it.
Okay.
I would want it easily.
Just one ability. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I have integrity, Toki. Okay.
Oh.
What's that? Where do you
That's
buy
what it is.
that?
I don't take the easy way out. All right.
All right. I think we could wrap it up then. We were talking about fun systems today.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And I fittingly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too. This was so much better than the last episode where we were all like, what the fuck is wrong with this? But yes, this was a much better fun episode. Talking about systems.
Our overlords will like this more.
I liked
sure.
it more. Well then, thank you, Orb, for joining us.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on Wuxiaworld's Teahouse. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to hit the follow button to stay updated with our latest releases. If you want more tea, hop over to our social media or Discord and send us an email if you want to spill the tea. We'll be back every Friday of each month, so check out our website, wuxiaworld.com. See you next episode. Bye!